It's okay, you're probably not going crazy, but it's possible you can't find your snake's shed in its enclosure. This is a question that I get a lot. It's kind of my favorite question because I had the same question a few years ago and I was super confused. My snake went deep in the shed. It was clearly like very dull. The eyes were blue. It was gonna shed any moment now, but now it looks perfectly clear and there's no shed in the enclosure. Now there's two possibilities. One, you're just blind, and two, your snake hasn't actually shed yet. This guy right here, this is one of our rescues that we're working on with emerald scales, if you know what that is. If you don't, follow on Instagram at _emerald scales. So just like snakes here aren't usually this underweight. I know he's working on it. However, you might not be able to tell, but he's very deep in the shed. He looks like he already shed. If you just peeped in the enclosure, you could expect to find a shed in there because he's already so clear now. However, this is not actually the case. A few years ago, this happened with, I think it was my corn snake when I realized it. I spent like a half hour digging through a small enclosure trying to find a shed and it wasn't anywhere in there until I realized that when you pick the snake up, you might still actually feel that shed there. I don't exactly know why it happened. I'm sure there's some explanation you can find, but they clear up almost entirely very often before they shed. I'm not going to try and handle them for too long because usually they might get a bit more stressed while they're shedding because they have less vision and it might be a bit more uncomfortable. But feeling the snake, it still feels a bit rough. On the bottom, you can actually hear a bit of crinkling, and that is that shed still getting ready to come off. The eyes look extremely clear, but if you look super closely, it still looks a bit different than it normally would. When I look at the scales, it looks like there are kind of some things poking off of it. Again, that's just the shed loosening up even more. And hopefully your enclosure is set up and ready for it to actually do this. This is probably gonna be a really quick video. It's just something that I get asked and wanted to put out there. But really for me, the process usually goes, the snake looks perfectly normal, and then eventually it starts dulling out. The eyes go blue. This might last for a few days. I've had it last a bit longer sometimes. It just varies depending on the snake and the time, not really for any apparent reason. And then after a number of days, it clears up entirely. Oftentimes people think it shed. It didn't. It's just clear for, with my experience, this lasts about 12 to 36 hours. And then after an extra day or so, maybe even 2 days, it actually sheds and you'll find that nice fresh skin in there, well, the nice old skin, and a nice fresh skin on your snake. And then you're free to do as you usually would once you actually see the shed in the enclosure. Remember, just make sure your snake is ready for it. Depending on the species, you might want to up the humidity a bit, make sure there's some nice rocks or hides or bowls that it can rub up against to make the shedding nice and easy. And usually, handling is something you want to avoid. I'm just doing it for 3 minutes while I do this. Okay, snake is back in the enclosure, and that's pretty much it for this really short video. You have yet to lose your mind, other than the fact that you might have a bunch of reptiles behind you. But maybe that'll clear up some questions, and if you're new to keeping reptiles, this might be something that you notice in the future. So it is normal, and it's kind of just a really fun one that I like because it's just such a weird experience, like knowing that your animal is in shed and then having no idea where that skin actually went. But maybe that'll save you a bit of time in the future, or maybe you just can't find it and you're not great at looking. But I think that'll be it for this video. Again, that was one of the animals that will hopefully be listed on our company site, Emerald Scales, which the site may or may not be finished when this video is up. Just go to emeraldscales.com. It'll either take you to a video, the Instagram, or the site, depending on where we are in the process. But that'll be it for this video. I'm Alex, and thanks for watching.